Brian Barnett is just a regular guy. He's not a doctor. He has no legal license in any field of mental or emotional health. Brian Barnett merely shares the insights he's gained from his personal experiences for anybody who may choose to use such information as he or she personally chooses, while accepting full responsibility for his or her own individual thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions. Brian Barnett assumes no responsibility whatsoever for anybody's individual choice to expose himself or herself to any information that Brian Barnett shares. And by listening to this program, you're acknowledging that you, and only you, are responsible for your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to The Last Symptom. I'm Brian Barnett, the creator and host. I'm going to try to keep things a little brief today. Well, briefer than some shows, I reckon. Before we get started on today's topic, we're going to be talking about how will you know that you're actually getting better, that you're improving and making progress in your recovery from borderline personality disorder. Before we get into that conversation, let me tell you about thelastsymptom.com. That's my website full of free resources, and there are also some paid resources there, but I want to tell you about it so that you can go over and take full advantage of that. I do make my time available for one-on-one phone conversations. If that's something you're interested in, you can just go right in there to the paid services tab when you get over to thelastsymptom.com, and you can schedule our appointment right there from the website. And maybe I can help you figure some things out. I'm going to forego a lot of the small talk that I'm typically inclined to get into, and we're just going to get right on into the topic. How will you know if you're actually getting better from borderline personality disorder? Is it going to be uncomfortable for a while? How will you know if you're truly making progress? The two misperceptions at the root of borderline personality disorder are, these are the two beliefs that form the very foundation of the disorder itself. Number one, my feelings are inherently irrelevant and shameful, devoid of inherent worth. And number two is, if my feelings are inherently irrelevant and shameful, devoid of worth, then so am I. Now, let me ask you this. What are the opposite beliefs of these? What two fundamental certainties or perceptions do healthy people walk around with? Number one, my feelings are never good or bad, right or wrong. They inherently matter. And number two, I have inherent worth. Now remember, nothing external has to supply what is simply inherent. The reason it's so practically useful to see this contrast between what the emotionally unhealthy person lives with and what the emotionally healthy person lives with is that it allows us to imagine the differences in their natural behaviors, thoughts, and feelings as a natural result. So, for example, you with borderline personality disorder, you might fear that the person you're with is going to leave you. And a lot of people refer to this as fear of abandonment. The problem with that is that adults can't be abandoned. So that's not even a real thing. But that's why I don't use that terminology. But the fear, is real. The fear that somebody's going to leave you or break up with you or whatever. And if you're emotionally unhealthy, you may have this tendency, even though the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the wife or the husband has not given you any good reason to believe that this is true, that they're thinking about leaving you or they're going to cheat on you. And why do you do this? Why do you have this fear? Because a person who believes he or she is worthless, remember, this forms the foundation that they walk around with. A person who believes he or she is worthless is not walking around in a state of security. Instead, a man or a woman who truly believes that he or she is worthless, that this is his or her natural state, he or she has every reason to believe that the person he or she is with is eventually going to leave them. You see, we all know this, that people don't love, value, or even care about worthless things. No matter how good they are as people, they do not place value on things that are devoid of value. If you don't believe me, think about the last thing you threw in the trash. If you can even remember what it was, you probably don't, because that's how devoid of worth it was to you. I'll bet you $1 million, trillion, cajillion dollars that you did not hold a small ceremony for whatever that was before you threw it away. No band played. You didn't pause at the trash can to reflect on how much it meant in your life, right? No, when we perceive something as worthless, this means it matters not to us in the least bit. So that's why we toss banana peels away without giving any thought whatsoever to what we're doing, or scraps of paper, or empty soup cans. Now, think about yourself as a person who was raised with the two healthy foundation beliefs that I just mentioned that are the exact opposite to what people with borderline personality disorder live with. How can we expect this healthy person to naturally behave as a result of the foundation beliefs he or she lives with? By contrast, think about this. Does a person who knows that he or she has inherent worth, doesn't have to do a single thing to be worthy, he or she just is worthy, does this person walk around feeling insecure? No, he or she does not, because he or she doesn't have any reason to feel insecure, you see? In fact, if his wife or girlfriend were to cheat on him or leave him, what would he know about this situation without even having to think about it or doubt it? He would know that the infidelity or the issues involved were in no way a reflection on him. He would know intuitively, instinctively, that the only truth the situation reflects is that the other person, she or he has problems. He or she's leaving or being unfaithful because something is wrong with her or him, but not with me, myself, the guy who was raised emotionally healthy. So that brings us to the answer to the question. You will know you're making progress, genuine progress, when your natural thoughts, feelings, and behaviors reflect a person who lives knowing that their feelings are never good or bad, right or wrong, and that they always matter, and that you yourself has inherent worth. As I said, very short show for today, folks, but I didn't want to leave you empty-handed. This is a 2-week course, so I've got 1 more week left, and then after that, I'll be back to my normal schedule for a little while. I hope you're all having the best weeks of your lives. Stay safe out there. Be kind and patient and understanding with yourself, more so than anybody else will be. You know, that's what we naturally do with people that we genuinely like. We're patient, we're understanding, we're kind. You should expect nothing less of yourself directed toward yourself. And with that, no encouraging finale this week. I'm sorry. I know that you had your fingers crossed for it, but it just means that I'll have to make next week's encouraging finale extra special. So this is Brian Barnett signing off. As always, thanks for listening.